Wow, I love this little episode today. I am so proud of how this turned out. So you and I today, we're talking about the 3 biggest reasons why most creatives are overly anxious and they just can't seem to live that calm, enjoyable artist life we all want. So first, we're going to talk about the big 3 problems, then the 3 simple ways to fix it.
Hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. Oh, the good times just begun.
Okay, the first reason why most creatives are overly anxious and fail to reach their success potential is most of us artists, we don't have a boss. We don't have constant meetings and constant deadlines and presentations and work groups. No, thank you. Us creatives, typically we work alone. Writers, painters, designers, poets, sculptors. It's a beautiful thing. We're working alone, we're creating, we're expressing what's in our heart and how we see the world. But the downside is we're alone with our mind, our thoughts, so much more than those office workers. They're busy all day, interacting with meetings and bosses and presentations. They don't have time to listen to every little thought and emotion that pops into their head like us artists do. And because we're sitting quietly with our thoughts all day, oh man, there's so much space now for things like toxic self-talk and self-doubt to creep into our mind. And we can sit all day and ruminate on that stupid little negative comment that we read. An idle mind is the devil's workshop. So I have for you such a brilliant little solution to this problem, and it's rooted in the beautiful ancient wisdoms that I've been studying for the last 10 years. But first, let's talk about the other 2 problems most creatives experience. Then we'll talk about the elegant fix for each one, which I'm truly excited to share these with you because they have radically changed my life. Let's do it. So being a creative, it's inherently focused on the self, constantly, all day, every day. We focus our attention on our art, which is our view of how we see our world. Then we have to reorder our supplies. Then we have to update our website with our new work. Then we have to promote ourselves so we can sell our creations all day, every day. Normal people with normal jobs, it's nothing close to that. This relentless, persistent focus on the self, it poses problems. Happiness in life is about balance. Many aspects of the artist's life lack balance. So we'll talk more about this coming up as we have our discussion on the solutions. So that's problem number 2, is this lack of balance many of us creatives experience every day. And here's the thing, this lack of balance, it's not like tangible, it's not super obvious, but this lack of balance is compromising our well-being long term. So the beautiful fix for this, it's coming right up. Now, the third and final issue we're talking about today, remember back when we were brand new artists, however young we were, there was infinite joy in the creative process itself. There was just true wonder in exploring the artistic journey. So as the years go by and we travel down that road of supporting ourselves with our art, we tend to slowly drift towards only doing what we know works. We tend to stay with what's safe because we got deadlines, we have paying clients, projects to deliver. So as adults, as professionals, we become much more focused or entirely focused on the outcome, the result. Many of us creatives have completely lost touch with that beautiful innocence of childlike play for the creative process itself, the joy of random exploration of our art. You see, the child mind, it's pinned to the joy of the process. It's the adult mind that's pinned to the quality of outcome. And that is the artist's ego. The ego, it's not your amigo. And you add in social media, where we're looking at other artists and craftsmen and their mind-blowing results, and that severely ramps up our insecurities, our self-doubt, our fear, our anxiety. And the funny thing is, paradoxically, 5-syllable word, the less you focus on and worry about the quality of outcome, and you focus much more on the joy of the creative process itself, oh man, you're gonna find that you're so much more frequently in that prized flow state throughout your work days, and your creative breakthroughs will flourish. So here's the 3 common challenges we talked about facing most of us creatives. Now, let's talk solutions. The first one we touched on earlier, it's that major focus shift for many creatives, putting the focus back on the joy of the creative process itself. Yes, we all have deadlines and paying clients and projects to deliver. That remains, but one way to re-spark this joy for the creative process is to set up date night with your art. So I made a full episode about this, how to set it up, and just how incredibly effective it is, how essential it is. So there's a link down below for that episode. Long story short, here's the advice. On your calendar, you schedule 3 times per week a 1-hour date night with your art. You have to physically put it on your calendar so it's solidified. It doesn't get pushed aside and forgotten about. So for each 1-hour date night, you turn on your music, you have a glass of wine or a cup of tea, and you only work on exploring new methods, new materials, new projects, and just wander, just create out loud, laugh out loud, just let it out, let it truly just have fun. And you absolutely cannot work on any existing client projects, always only exploring new methods, new materials. And this is a big one. Catch yourself. Stop yourself from caring about the outcome, what the finished item looks like, and refocus your attention back to the joy of the creative process itself, which it's just an absolute shot of adrenaline back into the passion you'll have for your craft. Re-spark wonder for the act of creating. It's just a party with you and your materials. So I suggest 3 times per week. That way, every few days, you're reminded, oh yeah, there's this thing called childlike play in art. Now, for the next 2 anxiety solutions, I need to get a little personal. So I'm turning 53 years old in a few months. Oh man, life doesn't slow down, does it? So 17 years ago, I became a full-time creator, and I had celebrity clients all around the world and private projects. Before that, I worked at 2 technology companies, and before that, I was actually an investment banker on Wall Street. And there was a time in there for a few years that I worked at an agency for developmentally disabled adults. But then, 4 years ago, I picked up a video camera and I became a nomadic filmmaker. So I traveled to underdeveloped countries filming for charities to help raise awareness and donations. But recently, I had to put that on hold and spend some time here in New York with my folks, who are both in the twilight of their years of life. So, okay, here's the strange thing. In my 20s, 30s, and 40s, I had 0 anxiety, 0 self-doubt. I had unwavering optimism. But dang, I tell you, the last few years, anxiety is like this unwelcome roommate that quietly moved in without permission. I do everything right to combat this. I exercise every day, meditation, I eat super clean, I do not watch the news or social media. But then there's this days when the anxiety, it just seems bigger than me. Now, let's tie this back to today's discussion about how us creatives can be less anxious and more creative. Success and happiness in life, it's entirely about good habits. So when I feel that anxiety starting to bubble up for whatever reason, I do these two things. And here's the beautiful thing. They're both foundational in the ancient wisdoms from Buddhism and Taoism and the Greek philosophers. And so the first is to, quote, get outside of yourself. So remember earlier, talking about being creative in entirely focus on the self. Constantly open power attempt our water. How are you of our world, our supplies, and updating our website? Ugh, all day, every day. All the beautiful ancient wisdoms dating back thousands of years, they all said the same thing. We must do things that get us outside of ourselves. Volunteer, serve others, do things that remind us how big and beautiful this world really is. A life well lived is a life in service of others. If you want to be happy in life, make other people happy. Delighted in the happiness of others. That is rooted in the Dharma of Buddhism, Hinduism. It's a beautiful concept that emphasizes the importance of empathy, compassion, shared joy. It encourages us to find joy in the success and achievement of others and the well-being of those around us. It fosters a sense of community and connection. By celebrating the happiness of others, we not only build stronger relationships, but it also enhances our own sense of fulfillment and contentment. So another great little tip here is, and I do this constantly when that feeling arises occasionally that, that you ever get that feeling like, what is the point of art? What is the point? What am I doing with this art career? You ever feel like that? Those big existential questions? Well, remind yourself why we create our art. What is our mission? Rewrite it. So refocus on it. So I'll share mine right now. So my mission with this YouTube channel, which is my art right now, I'm going to help 1 million creatives around the world to truly live less anxious and to move towards that calm, creative artist life we all envision. And my second mission is I want to one day make a video for the United Nations and UNICEF to help spread this message of helping creatives around the world, young and old, to know that the world needs their art. It's how they see the world. And their art helps people feel something, to inspire them, to inspire personal change, to inspire social change. What is more noble than that? I love it. Okay, the final point here, it's the third solution for artist anxiety, and it's to put a small amount of separation between you and your thoughts and emotions. So remember earlier, we talked about how most of us creatives, we don't have a boss, we don't have frequent office meetings and group presentations, thankfully. So very frequently, we're alone in our studios or at home working on our craft. So we have all this quiet time alone with our thoughts, our mind, and emotions. This really is a blessing and a curse. There's just so much opportunity now for things like toxic self-talk and self-doubt, anxiety to creep into our thoughts. So we have the time and space to constantly ruminate all day on petty little thoughts. People who have a boss and an office job and coworkers, they ain't got time for all of that. They're busy doing what they're told. That's okay. Well, the advice here is rooted in literally all the beautiful ancient wisdoms going back thousands of years and many cultures. They all say the same thing. You are not your thoughts. You must put a tiny bit of space between you and your thoughts and emotions. It's estimated the average person has 70,000 thoughts per day. That is bonkers. And emotions were never designed to make us happy. They've evolved over millions of years for only one thing, which is survival, not happiness. So that tiny bit of separation between you and your thoughts and emotions, it's the key to a calm, stable life. Everyone's heard of mindfulness practice, meditation, but very few people actually do it regularly every day. Oh, here's a great analogy I heard. So our overactive mind is like standing outside in the pouring rain. And the pouring rain represents our constant onslaught of thoughts and emotions. Meditation, it's like taking 2 steps backwards. So now we're standing underneath a roof. So now we still see and hear the pouring rain, but we're not soaking wet. We're not directly impacted by it anymore. So meditation gives you that tiny bit of separation that makes such a huge difference. Life is now more manageable. Life feels less turbulent, less like that constant hamster wheel of chaos. So how I put this into practice is I do a little meditation practice while I'm taking a 10-minute walk. I usually do that 3 or 4 times per day. So I get out in nature, I'm moving my body, and I'm meditating. And now, if I'm in the middle of a creative work block and I feel some anxiety and some random kind of turbulent thoughts come in, what I'll do is I'll keep working, but I'll take some big, slow, deep breaths. And I remind myself what I said earlier is I am not my thoughts and emotions. I am in control of my mind. My mind does not control me. And big, slow, deep breaths, a big smile, and holy smokes, it really does work, knowing that I am not my thoughts and emotions. Oh, and I love this one. I also remind myself, wow, how lucky are we? We get to sit in our studio all day and work on our beautiful art. We have the dream life. But we must remember the price of admission to this dream life is we cannot let the turbulent nature of our thoughts and emotions slowly erode our sanity. So today, we talked about these 3 ways to decrease anxiety. The first, refocus our priority on the joy of the creative process itself, instead of always being emotionally invested in the quality of outcome. Second, do things daily that are outside of ourselves. Volunteer, serve others, things like that. And third, we are not our thoughts and emotions. Utilize meditation to put that tiny bit of separation between you and your thoughts and emotions. It makes a massive difference in stabilizing the mood all day and decreasing anxiety. And when anxiety decreases, creativity increases. So all this advice comes from the beautiful ancient wisdoms dating back thousands of years, but our modern society and hyper-busy lives, we seem to have drifted away from these very basic requirements for a happy life. Now, please let me know down in the comments, what specifically are you struggling with right now? I would love to help in any way I can. So this is my personal email address here if you want to contact me directly. Thank you so much for watching, my artist friend, and I'll see you in the next episode.